We're ready for just about anything, as long as it involves traffic and police stuff. Yes, I am Sean Shapiro. That's my name. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet that's entire purpose is to help you out. We go live weekdays from 10 to 11-ish, and the goal again is to answer your questions. It's a pretty good game. It's a pretty good thing. Why is Instagram not cooperating? All right, just put it off to the side. I know they've had some issues recently. Maybe it's working, maybe it's not. And for anyone who wants to watch us, I guess they know where to find us. It's, everywhere else. Where is the everywhere else? Well, we're on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook. We got options. We're going to throw them on screen right now. If you're watching and you're not happy with the interface that you're using, maybe TikTok isn't working because TikTok hasn't been working in terms of sharing content with us. Like it's been working. Yeah, okay, it's working. It's been working for streaming the video, but sometimes the integration doesn't work and your questions don't show up on my screen. It makes it a little clunky. So if you're not exactly impressed with the way your questions are getting through or they're not getting through, go over to youtube.trafficcop.ca. That's youtube.trafficcop.ca. I really need to create a link for that. Maybe I'll do that right now. We are going to talk about Vision Zero Enforcement Team, because that is something I can get out of the way right at the top of the show. And they're a group of officers that change driver behavior one ticket at a time. Oh, yes. And if you want to know where they are every day, go to Traffic Services on X or YouTube or Traffic Services Toronto on Instagram, because we post these things every day. Today, they're focused on 13 Division and 55 Division. That's Yorkdale, Glen Park, Briar Hill, Wychwood, Oakwood, Vaughan. We've got the Beaches, Riverdale, Danforth, East York. Those are neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. What are they doing? What are they focusing their efforts on? They're looking for the big four. We're talking about speeders, aggressive drivers, distracted drivers, and impaired drivers, because those are the most dangerous things that happen on the road. And I'm inundated with comments that say speeding doesn't cause collisions. It's just the rapid deceleration when you hit something. Okay, why do people hit stuff? Well, okay, impaired driving is huge, because when you're impaired, you're not doing a good job. When you are distracted, you're impaired in sorts, not by drugs or alcohol, but by your phone, and you're not paying attention. Oddly enough, the faster you go and you combine with any of those things, you increase the amount of damage that's going to be caused, and you reduce the amount of time you have for response. But there's other things, those physics things, like braking. People constantly tell me, well, I got Bembo brakes, yo. And that doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, I understand what a Bembo brake is, and I understand that you think it's better, because it is better. And technically, a car that is outfitted with better technology when compared to a similar vehicle with less good technology, well, one's going to stop faster. But drivers tend to suck because they're humans, and humans are only capable of doing what humans can do. There's reaction and processing time, and that is where the biggest issue is. And then we get into that technology. The reason we don't have higher fatality rates has a lot to do with technology, all those airbaggy things, seatbelts and whatnot, crumple zones. And then we have the marvels of medical science, where doctors and those magical emergency services people take care of you and make sure that you get, the best treatment you can as quickly as possible. We'd have far higher rates of horribleness if it wasn't for those magical people. Anyway, Vision Zero Enforcement Team, that's where they are today, and they'll be out somewhere tomorrow. So make sure you're subscribed to all of our channels so you know where we is. Now, I talked about the fact that we're on a bunch of different places. We're talking about TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and X, and Instagram no worky today. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but it means one less place I have to pay attention to. So hopefully folks will figure it out and find us. But if you're on whatever platform you're on, please like, follow, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, please like, follow, subscribe, and hit the little bell. You get notified when we go live. And amazingly, and I think it is amazing, statistically, like 98% of the views we get are not from followers or subscribers on YouTube. So if you're not a follower or subscriber on YouTube, please change that. Become part of the Traffic Services family. We're over 3,000 followers. And, it pales in comparison to the 652,000 we have on TikTok. But I will say this, the folks that are on YouTube, they show up. They are here for real. And we thank you. Okay, quickly, what am I talking about now? Let's go over here. I changed it to, if you want to listen legally, whilst in the car, and not burn your data, make sure that you follow us on your favorite platform for podcasting, because we download these episodes. I always say we. I download the video. I then post it up in a lower resolution on Spotify, which then gets shared out to all the other platforms. It's a really good thing. If you want a podcast of your own, you can do it for free using Spotify. They had something used to be called Anchor. Now it's podcasters, Spotify for podcasters or something like that. Free. Free is a really good deal. I like free. Let's see who's in the room. Tim Shallow says, good morning, Sean. He was here before we started. Northern Pike says, good morning, beautiful world. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Well, this is very kind things people are saying. That's wonderful. Good morning, Sean. What is HU? Maybe it's a typo. Maybe it's not. Maybe I don't know about these short forms. But Stephen Bell, good morning to you. He's out of London area. We have, what's happening? Oh, we have Zombie with a good morning. Jordan Leduc is back. Good morning, Sean. And Brandon is here. Good morning, Sean and everyone. And Brandon says that I've tried to find the Telegram group, but I'm having trouble. It's telegram.trafficcop.ca is the hot link to take you right there. And it's the VOC. I think I called it Voice Over Cop Chat. I don't think it was something I was messing around with, so it was not, it's not a branded traffic services area. It's just the Voice Over Cop Chat, I think. In any case, it looks like we're once again not getting texts from TikTok, so I'll be monitoring that as best I can on the side here. Vincent says, cool. That's thoughts on my car. Somebody wants me to check out their wheels. I've done that before, but I won't be able to dig in. You have to DM me on TikTok. Okay. We got all sorts of questions. Hi, Sean. Love to listen to your live advice. That's Cheryl who's commenting. Thank you very much. N55 says, is color tint on rear three windows legal? Color tint is not a problem. In fact, even the regular gray tint is technically color tint. So whether that's purple, green, orange, or blue, doesn't matter. What matters is how much light is getting through. So it all depends on other things. We don't have a lot of action going on TikTok today. So please tap that screen until your fingers go numb. Allow other people to jump in. But you know what? We're good with small groups, big groups. Doesn't matter. As long as we're helping somebody, we're happy to be here. We will come back to more questions on TikTok in a moment. We've got Ryan, the Thin White Line Interceptor, who says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you, Ryan. Do you as an officer still need to research your emergency vehicle operations certificate even though you're not currently on the road? Driving, no. So annual recertification is required for use of force, for firearms and taser, handcuffing techniques, baton, all those things are I guess tactics for self-defense and whatnot. That is done annually. De-escalation tactics, new tactics are taught all the time, and they're always worked on. We do CQB, close quarters training, but it really focuses on de-escalation and new things. We're always learning new stuff. In terms of driving, we get a very intense course at the police college. We do more driving here. We drive all the time. And then in terms of if there's an issue, if you had a collision, if there was a problem, if something's been identified, then you might go for additional training. There's also updated training that comes now and again that you can have. I can't remember the title, but I've taken some advanced driving. And then, of course, I've done motorcycle training and additional training. So there's opportunities, depending on the job you're doing, that might be outside of just point-to-point training. I think that covers it all. Posted a greeting and dad joke last night. Did those come through? Keep forgetting what joke I sent. I didn't look. I was scanning through our Telegram group. I didn't notice, so you may have to double-check and look back. I'll see what I can do later. Just a reminder, if you're asking questions, please use the letter Q as the title or to start it off so I know it's a question and not just banter amongst those chatting. Okay, good morning. Is it legal to have blue license plate lights? No, it's not. If you're illuminating your rear plate, it must be white light. It must be 3 candela of power or more, and that is that's the deal. If you have blue light, that I would call a heat score. That would be a reason for me to pull you over and have a conversation. And I used to pull over a lot of people for plate lights because it was a reason to say hello and a ticket issue. But you can't do it. Cannot do it. Why is it illegal? You can't shine certain colors in certain directions. I see. Oh, okay. Michael says that he posted it to so it didn't come through, Michael. When I see the earliest I see now was Tim Shallow, who's the first one in. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. What am I doing here? Oh, I'm opening Word because I got to work within the confines of broken stuff. I say broken stuff. Restream is an absolutely magical platform that allows us to stream to all sorts of different places simultaneously. They host this virtual studio. Yeah. And it's great stuff. I can have guests and do all sorts of things. And they had just created the ability to use TikTok integration, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. It's a work in progress. They are so amazing, working hard to try and make it work for us every single day. But we acknowledge they're trying, and we hope that you can deal with it with us. We're going to be a little slower today. So Callum wants to know if they can drive in Canada on an Irish license, or do I have to Canadian license? Let's put that on screen for you. Oops. And the answer is, it depends. Are you moving here or visiting? If you're moving here, within 60 days, you need to apply for an Ontario license. And once you do, your foreign license will no longer be valid. Can you drive here when you first get here? Yes. UK licenses, Irish licenses, I believe, are all straight trade, which means you wouldn't have to apply and go testing. If you have a full license there, you would be able to have a full license here on trade once becoming a resident. And you don't have to wait 60 days. You could do it immediately if you're moving here. If you're visiting, you can drive up to 6 months. I think it's up to 6 months as a visitor. But once you go beyond that, you're going to have a problem. Now, I know that the Irish driving license is tough to get. Standards are much higher, which is one of the reasons why I'm confident that you'd have no problem with the transfer. Hey, look, I didn't put it on screen. It was Callum Byrne. There we go. So let me know. Are you visiting? Are you staying? What's going on? Okay. Here is a question about speed signs. And the question is from Jack Kawamoto. What do speed signs with white writing and black background? What do you mean? White writing and black, usually they're white background with black writing. I'm not familiar with the ones. I'm trying to visualize these. Where are you seeing these? Because I don't think those are a regular regulated sign. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just can't visualize it. Did shortened G tests really lead to worse drivers? That's Annie H. And that's a really good question. I don't know. It's being looked at right now. I think that I think that was the most recent decline in quality. I think that we were not so great before the shortened tests came out. I think that the standards are just not very high. Yeah. Ooh. So I think there's a whole bunch of reasons why we're having problems on our roads. One of them is distraction. I think cell phones and entertainment devices are a big distractor. People can't seem to put them down. It's a disease. Remember, that's a ticket that started at $125. It was just a simple ticket. No, I don't think it even came with demerit points. And then it went up gradually until where it is now, which is $615, 3 demerit points, and 3-day suspension on your first conviction. And then it goes to 7-day suspension, I think, on your second. In any case, people can't put it down, so they keep upping the ante. I think at some point they're going to take your car away, and it's going to be the same as stunt. Can I ride my e-scooter if it goes 60 kilometers an hour? You can on private property. But if it goes 60 kilometers an hour, that's a motor vehicle. All the benefits of the e-bike legislation disappear if it goes more than 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface under power. So if you're doing 60, you are breaking the law. You're on a motorcycle. You need license, ownership, and insurance. And frankly, the braking system on that bicycle does not have sufficient power to adequately deal with that speed, which means it's an unsafe motor vehicle, so you have an additional charge. There's all sorts of fun that we would have, and I say fun sarcastically, as well, writing all the paperwork that we would send you on your way with. And the big one, the no insurance, is going to be $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail. So the answer is no, you can't. Actually, you said e-scooter, and I thought I was going by way of e-bike. E-scooter, same story, except if you go more than 24 kilometers an hour, it's a motorcycle, or put a seat on it. If it was an e-bike scooter style, you'd be allowed legally to go to 32 kilometers an hour. Everything else is exactly the same that I mentioned, except the speed. It's illegal. Can't drive it on the road. It's a motor vehicle. and doesn't get the protection of the pilot. And it is a pilot in the province of Ontario. And if you're using it, even if it goes 24 kilometers an hour in the city of Toronto or any other jurisdiction that doesn't allow for them, they're prohibited. It's a $110 ticket for operating it, even if it conforms to the e-bike legislation. But in this case, 60 kilometers an hour is clearly out of it, and you would get big tickets. All right. Good morning, sir. Mohammed Nabil says, good morning, sir, from London, Ontario. Good morning to you. Hi from Bathurst, New Brunswick. Hey, we got a whole bunch of interprovincial hellos this week. That's awesome. Hamad Abu Harb says, why is it that you're allowed to touch your radio while driving but not your phone when on a stand? Well, here's a guess in terms of the ability to operate a cellular phone and what you're doing on it versus a radio. Oh, and I see that automated questions are coming up. Good. So let me put that up here. So the deal is this. If you can reach over and change the volume on your radio with one big knob, or you can change your air conditioning with one big knob, or you can change the station with one big knob, they've determined that that's permissible. Just like you can answer or end a phone call on your mounted cell phone. But anything that is beyond that is at very least careless, but on a cell phone becomes distracted driving. And remember, I just said it a few moments ago that it was originally a fairly light charge, $125. I think it went to $170 and it got points, then went up and up and up. If you are driving and playing with your radio and you're swerving all over the place because you are intently staring at the screen, because you want to make sure you're getting your manual, search to the right decimal place for your 99.9 as opposed to using AutoSeek for the big button, yeah, you're going to get charged with careless driving for doing that too. And the whys are really irrelevant. I know people get hung up on the whys. Well, why is this illegal? Well, why should you be able to tell me what to do? And the deal is that it's against the law. And the law is what you need to be concerned about, less the why as to why it is a law. Nobody likes that answer. Let's see here. Mike McConnell just skimmed OREG 615 signs. I did not see a speed sign with a black background. I can't visualize it. Mike, thanks for looking it up. I'd love to know where that person is so we can figure out if that sign exists. Or maybe they have inverted vision and they're seeing things differently. Which Telegram are you looking for? So the name of the Telegram group is it a group or is it a chat? I don't even know. I don't know. But if you go to telegram.TrafficCop.ca, you'll go there. And it's just listed as VOC-group. Yeah. Maybe somebody can put a link in the chat. Because one day I'll put it on screen because I'll remember. All right. Nish General Nala says, can service plates be used at all time of the day? Different applications. And they have to be used. Oh, someone's spamming. Oh, no, it's a whole bunch of people not spamming. They're kind of spamming the rock icons there. Yeah, a little bit spam. Please don't spam. We see you. We acknowledge you. Spam stays in a can, not for our chat group. Thanks to a killer for the spam. Okay. Back to what we were saying. Can service plates be used any time of the day? It's their function that changes. Like service plates can be used for delivering vehicles, because we're talking about. I'm pretty sure service plates can be used for delivering vehicles. There's some purposes for them. You have to conform to the regulations surrounding them. Mechanics plates are different. They can only be used for test driving. But if you're open for business and you're working at night and you're using it for that purpose, you can't use it outside of the allowable use. That's the big thing. I don't think there's any time restriction, but they have to be for the appropriate use. There you go. Baljinder Sings has a question. Mm-hmm. And that question is, I got a ticket as my registration permit for car expired a month ago. What will the solution be? Well, first of all, renew your plates. It's free. So you should have already done it. In fact, you should do it before it expires, not after. So if you got a ticket, you're guilty of it, you can do one of two things. You can pay it, or you can choose to dispute it. If you're going to dispute it, you're going to have to prove that you did renew it. but you didn't. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been charged. So I don't know what your deal is in terms of what you can defend yourself with. You're guilty of it, but you can do two things to make sure you never get it again. One, renew your plates. Two, go online. There's a link at TrafficCop.ca. It'll allow you to sign up for reminders. They'll email you, call you, text you for your ownership, not for your ownership, for your permit or license plates, for your health card and your driver's license. It is a free service. Take advantage of it. Do police pull over driving school students for speeding or infractions, and does the driving school instructor get penalized as well? We absolutely stop speeding vehicles. Doesn't matter who's driving. We don't care if you're a student or not. If you're speeding, you're breaking the law. So you get pulled over and you can be charged for it. Whether you get a warning or a charge is up to the officer investigating. But you are absolutely eligible. There's no free pass for being a student. In fact, you should be more cautious, not less cautious, while learning. And the instructor, I don't know if there's any impact to the instructor. We don't charge the instructor for speeding. It wasn't them who was driving the car. It was you. So we would charge the student. Is there an impact to driving school if your student gets it? Probably bad reviews. I don't know. There's nothing that we do. Unless, of course, they can't provide their driver's license information. Comment on the speed limit sign question. I think some jurisdictions may have night speed limits, and the color may be backwards. Not familiar with anything in Ontario. I'm not familiar with it either. What is this? Jeff says, permits can be renewed online even when expired. Very easy. It is amazing that way. Salah's got to get blocked. Sorry, Salah, you're spamming us, and we don't like that. Radic, what's going on, my friend? Radic says, good morning. He says, good morning, sunshine. I'm assuming that's what we're going for. Can you search vehicles that have been involved in a traffic collision where the police are required to attend? Searching a vehicle. Okay, that's a good question. So we do some searches. We call them inventory searches. And if you are taken by ambulance to hospital, we are going to tow your vehicle and impound it to protect your vehicle and to ensure that it is safe and also not in the middle of the road after you've left. Now, we do that inventory search to ensure that any valuables are listed, not only for our records to ensure that they're there, but to protect them from being stolen, because we are going to say goodbye to the vehicle. It's going to go with the tow operator. We are putting on the document that they get the inventory of what's there. So if we find a bundle of cash, we're going to write down bundle of cash, right? We're not going to hand that over without checking, and then it comes back to you and you say, where's my bundle of cash? Well, I don't know. I didn't look. Well, of course we're going to look. We're going to do that, inventory it, and protect everybody involved. Laptops, things like that. And even better, if a family member is on scene who is not going with the car, we would tell them to take it. We'd suggest to them that would be an option. It all depends. If you're able-bodied, you're there, you're not going to hospital, you're going to deal with it yourself. Totally different situation. The only situation where we're doing that is when we're seizing the car and you are not part of the scenario. Watch Close Junk says, my dad works for TPA too. Cool. Sam Reed says, my ID was stolen from my car and I filed a report, but nobody followed up. What should I expect? What you've done is you filed a report. Now you should go and apply for a new ID. First of all, you should never leave identification in a motor vehicle. You should not leave your stuff anywhere. Things like that are so important for maintaining security of your identity. This is stuff that you should very much be hiding or carrying on your person. You don't want people going and opening bank accounts in your name. It's suboptimal at best. Don't do that. But you could always call follow-up, but no one's going to find it. It's going to be for the purposes of now going and taking your report number and applying for a new identification. There's no manhunt for your ID. Now, if it comes up, someone tries to use it, it may get caught at that point. But we're not doing door-to-door searches for a lost driver's license or anything like that. Okay. Stephen Bell says, the only drivers that can speed is emergency vehicles with their emergency equipment on. Yes and no. Emergency vehicles, police, fire, ambulance, have different requirements as to when they can speed. Police, it's for any lawful purpose, the lawful execution of their duties is the wording. So that could be for patrolling, for responding to emergency calls, for doing enforcement. We can exceed the posted speed limit. It's lawful. We have to, if something happens, we're going to have to articulate why we were doing what we were doing, but it's legal. Now, when we talk about ambulance and fire, they have more restrictions. They can only do it while they are responding to a call for service for medical or fire. An ambulance can do it while they're transferring patients. But outside of that, they can't. What else can I tell you about them? Lights don't have to be on for police. We don't need to activate our emergency equipment in order to speed. That is something that many people get wrong, and it's okay, but it's not factual. You can do it anytime without lights. The only time we are required by the Highway Traffic Act to turn our lights and sirens on is when going through a signalized intersection that is giving us a red light. So we're going to go against the signal. We have to activate our equipment. We have to come to a complete stop, and only then, when it's safe to do so, can we proceed. And if it doesn't go the way we thought it was, we're going to be very responsible for that. There's this big misunderstanding that we always have to have our lights and sirens on. We don't do that. It's safer for us not to do that because the darndest things happen when we activate our lights. Like people stop directly in front of us. So it'll actually slow us down and be less safe. If you don't have your physical license or insurance, is having it on your phone okay? That's Mayhem Khan who's asking. A lot of people ask this question. It's very common, so don't feel bad. It is not okay to have them on your phone. You must have the physical driver's license, and you must have proof of insurance, either by printed copy from the insurer, or you can have an electronic version, not a photograph, an electronic version in a secure app that is provided by the the company providing insurance. That is the story. And why is that? Well, you get a ticket for $110 for not surrendering your license, and you get what else do you get? You get a $65 ticket for not being able to provide proof of insurance, and that's if we believe you have insurance. Otherwise, you get a big ticket, and that has the $5,000 to $25,000 if you're found guilty, as well as up to 6 months in jail. All right, let's go back to, I got a whole bunch of stuff that came in from TikTok. None of it came through in the restream. Okay. Want to catch up to where I was. Oh, thank you, Malene Zulia, for sharing. I see you shared a whole bunch of times. Thank you much. Thank you much. If you're watching, you don't know who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, talking about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. I talk about this stuff all the time because it's important. We want you to have the best information available. Oh, now Instagram suddenly started working. Isn't that funny? We want to have we want to give you the best source of information. And people say, well, you could have just Googled that. I mean, you might have just been able to Google it. And what happens if you get 25 people giving 25 opinions? And which one's right? How do you, as a layperson, someone who's not familiar with everything that goes on here, how do you differentiate what is right and what is not? So having a trusted source of information is really important. We aim to be that for you, because we're the police and we know stuff and things. So we're here to help. And I'm here to cut and paste right now. Here we go, cutting and pasting. Yeah, we want to make sure that you have all that information available so you can make good, safe choices behind the wheel. And people say, well, you're the police. You're here. You're against us. You're here to give us tickets. Yeah, we hold people accountable when they break the rules. That's part of the deal. We want to educate you so you don't make the error. You don't make the poor choice. But if you decide to make the choice, or if you happen to make the choice or take the action, know that we're here to issue a ticket. All right. Undisclosed says, a lot of road work is happening in Toronto currently. The construction signs they put up in my area is obstructing the speed camera sign. Who can I talk about this? 311. Call 311. They're all about the deal for signage and whatnot. They are actually very, very good at sending out people to fix these things. Now, the road work, if they are blocking the sign and it's temporary structures, 311, you could also, we have a liaison here that deals with management of traffic construction zones. They would inspect those things as well. 311 might send us the email, or our officer might get the report directly, depending on how you make the report. Either way, it is worth reporting because someone is going to get away with that camera ticket because of the placement of this, or could potentially if they had their wits about them. Is the city responsible if I pop a tire on a pothole? Oddly enough, there is a way of responding to the city. I think they have a maximum that they will pay out for. But yeah, if they've not been maintaining their roads, there is a way for you to go after and collect money. I know people who broke a wheel years ago, and they got a couple of grand, I think, to replace it. I don't remember the details. But there is a thing. It is a thing. You can go after the city. Are you guys Stephen Bell says, are you the same as Border Scardy, just security? Like, do we do Border Patrol? That's not, that's CBSA. That's totally different. They are not police. They are Canada Border Services. And they do a lot of stuff, but we're not the same. There's an intersection in downtown that has an advanced green arrow for left turns, but doesn't have a left turn lane. Is this wrong? No, just means that they're letting people make left turns first. It's just the light just means the activity can take place. I don't think that's a common thing, though, because what if only the first person wants to make a left and everybody else is waiting to go straight through? They can't unless it's a combination arrow and straight through. So I'm assuming that's what it is. I had to work that one out in my head. What do we have here? Boom, boom, boom. Driving Hero Academy. I like this account name. That's a cool name. Let's. I think everyone should be a driving hero, doing it safely. I like the messaging. I like the messaging. All right. What's the question? Let's put you on screen. What charge? Parent in driver's seat, toddler on lap, steering the car on the street. I have a video of that, actually. I have that exact video that I commented on. It was in a child standing on the lap and anyway, that is a child requiring a car seat who is not safely secured. So let's look up the potential. I said $240 or $340. I haven't laid that charge in that particular. I guess I have laid that charge, but not for that particular thing. Okay, child seat, child. So we have it's $240 for drive while child passenger not properly secured, failed to ensure infant or toddler or child properly secured, all the same thing. What is the deal? That's a 2 demerit point ticket, but there's an additional issue there. That's careless driving, so I charge them for that. That's 6 demerit points. And what is careless driving now? Is it $300? Is it $490? $490 careless driving. So I charge them for that. Drive while crowded, maybe I charge them for that as well. Like maybe we start getting into endangering the child. Like it is so incredibly, like that's an airbag deployment nightmare that would likely kill that child. So I would probably throw the book at them. I can't imagine why anyone would do it. It's just, that's infuriating. Ever since I became a dad, I am thoroughly offended whenever I see people doing stupid things, putting children at risk. And like every traffic stop I made involved a car seat inspection. And I'm a certified technician for car seat installation, so I knew what I was looking for. And I would lay charges for each and every one. And they wouldn't be able to leave until they fixed the problem, which I helped them with, but they couldn't just drive away with their child. I've had many, and if there was no child seat, someone was taking a taxi or a bus because child wasn't getting in that car. What is the Toronto Police doing to reduce the amount of carjacking taking place? Are they heightening patrol in the more active areas of carjacking? We are busy. We're busy trying to respond to 911 calls. We're busy with Project Resolute because of the conflict in the Middle East. We are busy everywhere, but we are everywhere. And we are not on particular, not that I'm aware of anyway, specifically looking for carjackings, but we are responding to calls for service for anything that needs attention. And we're always patrolling, looking for issues that appear to be issues. So I'm not aware of anything that is specific to carjackings, but we are also, like our unit, the traffic services unit, isn't specifically the carjacking unit. That's a part of a different unit. What is it? They're under, I can't think of what they're called. There's actually a podcast episode that I did with Inspector Richard Harris, who's in charge of that. So if you want to check out more about that, it's an episode from last year, but it's still got great information. At what age, undisclosed, you got great questions. At what age can you drive with alcohol in your system with a full G license? 22 years old. The wording is terrible under the Highway Traffic, and it says, the Highway Traffic Act says, HTA says, over 21. So people think, I'm 21 and over. No, it's over 21, which means 22. But really, you should have no alcohol when you drive at all whatsoever, because that is bad. Elizabeth wants to know if every driver needs to be on the pink slip for the motor vehicle. Pink slip being the not the registration, the insurance document. That's proof of insurance. No, it does not need to be there. What you need to surrender to the police upon demand at the side of the road when a vehicle stop is taking place is a proof of insurance document. We care that the vehicle is insured, not who is insured under it. That becomes an issue amongst the insured party, the owner of the vehicle usually, and the insurance company. So when you get into a collision and it wasn't them driving and they say, well, we only said that you could drive. We said nobody other than you or nobody under the age of 25 or, Elizabeth can't drive the car specifically. Well, then they may not honor the claim. They may deny the claim saying you didn't follow the rules because their rules, private company, they have a contract with you. You have to do what they say and they have to do what they say. And if either one breaks, you have a complaint, right? Well, their complaint comes by way of not covering you. So, you don't. It is so, especially if you live in the same house, you need to be on the policy. But that's not a police matter. We wouldn't give you a ticket for it. Linda says, "Good morning, my hero. Have a great day." Linda is a big supporter of police. Thank you so much, Linda, for your hellos. They mean a lot. Stephen Bell says, yesterday I was driving and my wife wanted me to look at her phone. I said, no, not until I'm parked in the parking lot. Well, good for you, because just looking at their phone is screen visible to driver and against the law. And I find many people want to share with you an Instagram photo, or here's a funny, or just watch this, or you can't. You can't. You'd be eligible, and if a police officer saw you doing it, they could stop you, charge you, and it's the same as using your phone. A lot of people are asking questions on Instagram. Are you kidding? Where? I don't see them. Hang on, let me scroll back. I don't see a lot of activity on Instagram. I see 2 people on Instagram. But what's going on here? Instagram's not a busy place for us. Maybe they're asking on comments of other things. Yeah, so I don't know where the questions are that you are seeing. I don't see them. Okay. Can a work permit holder apply for parking enforcement officer or special constable in TPS? I believe that the requirement for those positions as well are based on permanent resident. Yeah, permanent, not work permit, permanent resident. So let's have a look here. I got all confused. But yeah, the deal is that if you are a permanent resident or a Canadian citizen, you can apply. So we're looking at parking enforcement. I haven't pulled it up on screen yet. Traffic. Go back. It is tps.ca/careers to get to see what I'm showing you right now. And that will bring you to the parking. Well, I will bring you to the main page. I've already clicked on this. Successful completion of grade 12 or approved equivalent. Okay. Eligible to work in Canada. That is different than the police constable requirement. Okay. Maybe you could. It just says you have to have a valid social insurance number, which I imagine you'd be issued if you were someone with a work permit. I'm assuming. I don't actually know. So I will suggest that you contact our magical people at recruiting, which is now called talent acquisition. And they know stuff and things that I don't know, because I didn't know this. I've never looked at this. I assumed. Let's see if it's the same for special constable. Requirements. Somewhere. Other requirements. Here we go. Must be 18. And legally eligible to work in Canada. Doesn't say anything about citizenship. Get out of town. Not you. You can stay. But police constable, let's confirm them. It's Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada. So it's just the police constable position. I'm shocked. Or somebody put incorrect information. One of the two. I'm not gonna judge anyone. It could be me. It could be them. I don't know. I'm gonna call and find out though. I needs to know. Okay. Radek says, got to run the class. Enjoy the sunny day. That was 4 minutes ago. So we're actually doing pretty good at being on time here. Okay. Mohan Prasad says, good morning. Great show. I mentioned this issue a few months ago, but just wanted to bring it back up in the discussion. There is a person on my Facebook that records himself while driving on the 400 series highway. He holds his phone with one hand and the wheel with the other. What is the best way for me to forward? But I lost it. Such a long message. Where is it? Information, plate video, Facebook video, so you can teach this guy a lesson and get him charged for driving while holding a phone. You can call police. You can for Toronto Police, if it's in Toronto, specifically, if it's the 400 series highway, that's the Ontario Provincial Police. I believe they have an online submission form for complaints, but I could be wrong. Toronto certainly does. Other jurisdictions do. You want to provide that information to them, and they will either be on the lookout type thing. They may not be able to lay charges. They could if they have all the required information, like license plate, the driver's identification, time, location. There's things we need in order to lay a charge. And if we don't have those things, we can't lay the charge. All right. Forgot to turn that off. What are the taillight laws? Well, they have to be, you can only shine red or amber to the rear. Brake lights obviously should be red, not amber, because people think you're signaling when you're hitting the brakes if they're amber. Anyway, they must be discernible at 150 meters. That means the difference between the standing light at night and the activated brake light must be clearly discernible. Oh, yes, I acknowledge there's lots of questions on TikTok. They said Instagram it by accident. All right. What? How do you feel about people who hate cops? Oh. So the question is, how do I feel about people who hate cops who might hurt cops? Well, obviously I don't like it. Nobody. I don't understand the concept as to how people could turn their disdain for all things to blaming the people or focusing that rage against the people who are here to protect them. Police officers swear an oath to protect and serve, essentially. I'm paraphrasing, that's not the exact wording. But we're here to help, not to hurt. And for people who somehow make us out to be the villains is troubling. It is the lack of respect is part of it, but the fact that the risk is so high to be a police officer these days in anywhere in the world. Look what just happened in New York, where two officers were surrounded and attacked when they were trying to do their job. Not okay, really not okay. And so it's very sad. I mean, that's, you asked how I feel about it. It's sad. Alex Bullock says, I'm thinking about getting an ex-cop car. What are the rules behind these vehicles? What is legally what is it legally allowed to have? You can have an ex-police car. They're just cars. Right? There's nothing really special about them except enhanced coolant systems and sway bars and things like that. So what is the rules? No sirens, no lighting. You don't want anything that says police. And you're putting yourself at risk. If people think you're a cop because of the vehicle you're driving, that could be that you are less safety. Because as the last question or comment was discussing, not everybody likes the police. And people might want to hurt you because you're in a police-looking car. So Jack Kawamoto says the signs that are inverted colors are located around the Rideau Canal in Ottawa. Different laws in Ottawa, different signage standards in Ottawa. Oh no, that's still Ontario. Never mind. I was thinking it was a French word. I was thinking Quebec, even though I said Ottawa. Anyway, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if those are regulated or not. Maybe they're just informational signs. Can we make Ottawa part of Quebec? Then I won't have made a mistake. I would undo my oopsie by getting rid of them. Greetings and salutations from Akela Draconis, who is at the TMC, the Traffic Management Center, and apologizes for being late, which is obviously never an issue. Angie says, I contacted the recruiting team and never heard back from them. I would love to know this information of work permit from you, please. So what I would suggest doing is going on to my ASKaTrafficCop.ca page. You go to there is a Ask Me a Question button. Go there, fill it out, submit this question there so I have your information. I will forward an email to the recruiting team on your behalf with your information, and hopefully you'll get a call back. Stephen Bell says, people may think I'm law because I do the law. I learned it from you before I didn't know until you taught me. That's awesome. Hey, it's a sergeant.
Hello.
Howdy doody.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's good. I only got about 10 minutes before I got to head out.
We only have 10 minutes until the end of the show.
Well, there we go.
And then I have to continue setting up TVs and things. We are preparing for Auto Show Mania. It's exciting stuff. Boom, boom, boom. We have a dad joke to flag for later. And then we have, what's the max speed limit of an e-bike that's a motorcycle in Ontario.
The max speed limit of an e-bike that's a motorcycle. Before it becomes a motorcycle?
Maybe they're talking about an e-bike that looks like a motorcycle, because you can't use the words e-bike and motorcycle in the same sentence, because once it's a motorcycle, it's a motorcycle.
Well, they technically are all motorcycles. They're electric-powered motorcycles. But e-bikes, as long as they fit the criteria, have an exemption for certain things.
Right.
But really, technically, they are all motorcycles.
Yeah.
Just like a Tesla is an electric car, then they really are a car.
Wouldn't it be great if you didn't need to have insurance or, but you limited it to 32 kilometers an hour.
Right.
So the deal with an e-bike is that you are unable, or it has to be incapable of exceeding 32 kilometers an hour on a flat surface by electric power. It cannot have a motor more powerful than 500 watts. Unless it's a cargo under the pilot, then it's allowed to have 1,000 watts, but it's very specifically a cargo bike at that point, and still limited to 32 kilometers an hour, maximum speed. It has to have proper equipment on it, like batteries and terminals need to be hit, a whole bunch of other things. And the maximum weight for a non-cargo version is 120 kilos. If you are below those standards, or up to the maximum of those standards, you are allowed to operate that with a helmet on, either a bicycle or motorcycle helmet, and you ride it with all the privileges of being a bicycle, save and except if it looks like the larger units that are scooter style or motorcycle style, they cannot be in cycle tracks in the city of Toronto. They're only allowed to be in cycle lanes and sharrows. Right. So in those, what I just described, are legal e-bikes. And the other ones are motorcycles. It does 33 kilometers an hour under power. It's a motorcycle.
Yep, and because it's a motorcycle and considered as such, you need a license, insurance, a motorcycle operator's license, plates, has to be safetied, has to have road legal tires, has to have all the things that a motorcycle would have, like a horn, turn signals, things like that.
And then it's also eligible for enforcement of speed limits because it's a motorcycle.
Right.
And that means, because a bicycle can't get a speeding ticket, but a motorcycle can. So an e-bike normally wouldn't be subject to speed limits. Even if it's 32, you couldn't get the dinged for the 2 kilometers over. But if it's doing 4 kilometers over, you're absolutely in the game.
Yep.
Akela says, hi, Sarge. Steven says, good morning, Sarge. Michael says, good morning, good sergeant. Jordan says, good morning, Sarge. You got all these good mornings.
Well, good morning, everyone.
We've got this question. What is this question? Hey, Sean, if a car turning left and a car turning right are the same single lane road right of way. So this is one we talk about all the time.
Single lane road.
I'm assuming it's single lane in each direction.
Okay. Yeah.
As opposed to one lane where they're just meeting in the middle. That would be uncomfortable.
That certainly would.
So the automobile or vehicle that is crossing the live lane of traffic does not have the right of way.
Anybody crossing a live lane of traffic, a traveled lane, can only do so when it is absolutely safe to do so. So that means the obligation is on you to wait until the approaching vehicle, whether they're signaling to go right or not, has passed. What happens if they change their mind at the last minute and decide to go straight? The obligation is on you crossing their lane to make sure it's safe to do so, so you have to wait.
I got 2 things for you. One, I'll let you know that I recently cut Ottawa out of Ontario.
You did?
Well, I read the Rideau Canal, and I went, oh, it's in Quebec. And then I went, Ottawa. And I said Ottawa, but I didn't realize that Ottawa was in Ontario, as I said it.
You know what? We like Ottawa.
Yeah.
Most people in Ottawa, anyways.
So, yes, most, but not all. There are apparently signs that are inverted, speed signs that have a black background, white text instead of a white background with black text. So people were asking about that.
Okay. Is that on a public road, or is that maybe within the grounds of Parliament? Is that in the parks? Is that going up and down the Rideau Canal? Is it?
Apparently it's around the Rideau Canal.
Oh, well, there you go. I know we have different speed signs in Ontario parks. They don't look like the ones that are out on the highway, but they are enforceable because they have their own act and they create their own signs. And
so they're regulated for them.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So it could possibly be that.
I'd love to know now.
There you go.
Chase wants to know what happens to your car if you get impounded for dangerous operation and you get taken to the station and you get a ticket or the court date and charged.
So dangerous operation isn't an immediate vehicle impoundment.
Stunt is, but dangerous isn't.
Right. Impaired driving is, but dangerous isn't.
Maybe it should be.
Suspended driving is, but dangerous isn't.
Weird.
But if you're getting arrested, guess what? We can't leave your car,
So it's still getting impounded. It'll get transported and to a
but it won't be held.
right. You'd be able to get it back, whereas an impound for the other charges are held for a period of time, like 14 days for stunt, for instance.
So do you get a ticket with a court date? So yes, depends on what the release is. If they deem that you're not a candidate for release, you may be sent to court right away for a bail hearing. If you are, because dangerous driving is a criminal charge, you may get promise to appear, appearance notice, things like that. That'll compel you to come back to court. And if you don't come back to court, then the warrant gets issued for your arrest, and then you definitely don't get released right away.
I like it. Do you get pulled over for loud exhaust?
Oh, yeah.
I'm rephrasing. Paraphrasing. Yeah, you do. Yeah, there's so many reasons to. I mean, the behavior side of it is that you're doing something that's causing us to pay attention to you. So for sure, that's a reason. But in addition to that, just not having an exhaust is like these are all these things that come into play. If you're too loud for a reason.
I investigated somebody yesterday for exactly that reason. Sitting at a traffic light, just revving the engine, modified exhaust, extra loud. We had a conversation. He didn't like it.
No kidding.
Nope.
A lot of people talk about these things. Who am I hurting? It's a victimless crime. What's the big deal?
It seems to be the most complained about traffic problem within the city of Toronto. More people get more upset with the noise of cars with modified mufflers than driving offenses.
Weird.
And it's consistent that it's constantly people are asking us, what are we doing?
Because the people who are being affected are usually the same people in the same areas as people who are driving by. Their lives are impacted, and the people who are driving through, they don't notice it, they don't care.
Right.
John wants to know why can someone get pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt when it's not affecting anyone's safety, but there's little, what is this? Not affecting anyone's safety, but there's little kids, school buses without seatbelts. Why is that allowed? Okay. These are good questions.
It's a valid question.
Taxis and buses are also exempt for taking children in car seats. You know, there's lots of reasons behind it, but ultimately, we're here to protect you as well, even if you don't want to protect yourself. That's part of it. It's the number one reason to keep number one way to keep you inside of a vehicle in the event of a collision. Bad things happen when they go flying across the road.
It's best if you are seated in a seat trying to control your out-of-control vehicle than if you're not in the car at all and it's just a big metal projectile that's going in
When
place.
things start spinning, G-forces, and you start sliding across a bench and you're no longer in control of your vehicle at all.
And you know what? If the safety equipment is there, and even though you don't want to use it to protect yourself, I don't want to have to pay for your hospital stay because you haven't protected yourself. Comes out of my money, my tax dollars.
That is very much a Canadian thing, but those rules apply elsewhere too, and even if they aren't city money or government tax money going. So, all those reasons. We're here to help everybody.
But you are not incorrect.
About the buses thing and kids.
Yep.
And I thought they were bringing seatbelts to school buses.
I believe they are. The legislation hasn't passed yet, but
Things
it's in the
there are
works.
changing. But public TTC buses, no seatbelts. And that's just, I think it's because they pack too many people and they would make it more expensive. I'm assuming it's because it would be too expensive to have transit.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Me neither. But, you know, we like to speculate sometimes. What is this? Can I drink while driving my boat? And water? You want to drink water?
So, can you drink while driving your boat? No. The only time you can have open alcohol in the vessel is if the vessel is configured so that it can be a liveaboard. So it has to have a head, which is a toilet. You have to be anchored securely. And the operator of the boat cannot be impaired, but you can have open alcohol. At no other time can you even have open alcohol in a boat.
I don't boat. I used to boat. I have my operator's card, but I don't boat.
I boat.
Boating is cool. You have to drive too far to get in a boat. Can I drink while? Oh, I'm reading the same thing. I have another one. How many demerit points for
Demerit points
for driving with no insurance?
There's not actually demerit points associated with driving with no insurance.
It's true.
But there is one heck of a fine.
Oh, yeah, $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail in the first conviction. That's bad.
Demerit points are usually associated with tickets that are handed out for driving maneuvers. Speeding, lane changes, turns, careless, things like that. And it is a way the MTO uses to assess your ability to drive and whether you should or shouldn't have a driver's license at all. Having no insurance, well, that's just
Bad.
yeah.
I think TikTok is totally working.
Totally?
Totally.
Like totally?
And that we get to find out that Hits FM does not tip Uber Eats drivers.
All right.
I don't know why that's important to share, but okay. I don't order Uber Eats, so we're in I don't tip them either because I don't order from them.
So it's 11,
You got to go.
and that's me. I'm gone. I'm out on the road today, so
Have fun, be safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Well, I'll see you later. But
yeah, I'll be able to join in for a little bit tomorrow as well. So, all right, take care,
very
everyone.
cool. I will try, just because things are not working, I will try and jump in with some quick Q&A TikTok stuff because I can. I was totally going to leave you, but now that it's working, I feel obligated. I wonder how that got fixed, like just in the last few minutes. All right, let's scroll back and see what's up. And if I don't get everybody, because I have a whole list here, I apologize. It's just not working, or it was not working, and now things happen. Sergeant Campbell left, and I read this after he left. 100 centimeters, no kidding. Can I take my prescription meds and drive a motor vehicle as long as those meds do not make you impaired? So if you were to take medical marijuana or some kind of painkiller that made you drowsy, no, you can't drive. That would still be impairment. Okay. Allison says, dumpster diving. Is dumpster diving illegally? You're on private property, and if it hasn't been put to the curb, it's a problem. I don't know the ins and outs. I've never investigated dumpster diving, but it's my understanding that when it's on their property, you're trespassing to get it, which makes a whole lot of sense. And once it's actually at the curb, it's a different story. That's my understanding. Could be wrong. I see a lot of e-bikes without lights. Why is this allowed? It's not. Even regular bicycles, it's not. But as you may have noticed, not everybody follows the law. And we don't always have the ability to enforce every law out there as much as I would like to see that happen. Okay, according to Neil 201, all the driving centers examinators are selling licenses at Downsview and Brampton, number 1. That should be investigated. You should put in a report. If you have information, you call Crime Stoppers if you want to do it anonymously at 222-TIPS, 416-222-TIPS. You can do it at, 1-800-222-TIPS is the website, and also a toll-free number. In any case, that is, if you have information to support that, you should absolutely make a report because we don't want people who don't qualify for licenses having licenses. Kayla is going to be at the auto show on the 22nd. Cool. I'll be there too. Funny how that works. E-bikes are very dangerous. I've seen them explode out of nowhere. Is there a way to ban them? Well, certainly I'd like to see the dangerous ones banned. The biggest problem is that these e-bikes that are catching on fire aren't just e-bikes catching on fire because they're e-bikes. It's because they're being modified. If you want to check out TPS Traffic Jam, where I interview the deputy fire chief, Larry Coco, I should say. He's a great guy. We were talking all about thermal runaway and what happens when you add, modify, damage a battery pack. It's lithium-ion batteries. It's not e-bikes in particular, but we have some footage of a building fire where 4 people died in New York City because of thermal runaway, bikes that went kaput or kaplowy. What do we got here? Scrolling back because things are working. That means now it's hard to keep up to this chat. What is going on here? Here we are. Classic car that didn't come with seat belts. What are the laws with booster seats? You don't have to have them. If you have a classic, basically the vehicle is maintaining a standard. They have to have the equipment that they came with. You don't have to add new equipment, but you can voluntarily add equipment. I certainly would not. I don't want to drive in a vehicle that has no seatbelt, and I don't want to take my kids there because I value my life, and I certainly value theirs. Why can't I have tint, but your undercover are allowed? Hypocritical, no? I don't know what you're talking about in terms of are undercover. If it was undercover, you wouldn't know it's a police car because it's undercover. We don't tell people that the Honda Civic that looks like a tuner car and is going to car meets is undercover because it's undercover. So yeah, we don't tint our fleet. Can I Chrome delete my car? Yes. Blame Uber Eats for the e-bike invasion. It's not just Uber Eats. It's all sorts of people who are utilizing e-bikes and avoiding paying. And I get it. If you're trying to make money, paying for gas and the expenses that are involved in having a motor vehicle are high. E-bikes are not inherently bad. It's the misuse of them, like driving on the sidewalk, which is causing one of the biggest issues. And we have lots of complaints in the downtown core about that. We have officers that are working to educate and enforce on that particular topic. How often do you see assault charges turn into self-defense on trial? I don't know. I don't track that information. I'm a traffic officer. I don't go to court for other people's trials. So I just don't have any information on that. What do we have here? A car turning right on a red and a car doing a U-turn on a yellow right of way. So a U-turn must be done in a place where it's safe. You have to ensure it's safe. The vehicle turning right on a red has to ensure that they can complete that turn safely. Which one is more responsible? Well, the one in the yellow presumably was already in the intersection as an obligation to clear it. But if I'd probably split it in the middle. I'd probably make both of them responsible. I'd certainly look at both of them for doing an unsafe move. I like these hypotheticals, but sometimes there's no good answer. There's no clear, that one's right, that one's wrong, because U-turns must be done in safety, and so do right turns on red. Dad joke, I'll flag that for a little bit later. Sammy Sosa, got a speeding ticket by camera, 68 and a 50. Any advice on how to fight this? No, you were doing you're doing 18 kilometers over the posted limit. That would suggest you're guilty. Pay it. Move on with your life. Don't speed. Speeding bad. It's illegal. I can't give you advice for fighting tickets, nor do I have any when it comes to a program that we don't run. I don't give advice for ticket fighting at all. Let's see here. At the end of a passing lane, which lane? At the end of a passing lane, which lane has the right of way? You don't. Okay, so you have to make a safe lane change. There's no automatic right of way. Whoever has their lane, actually, there is a right of way. The person who's in the lane that doesn't end has the right of way. You, as the passing lane person, must pass safely, and you may have to get behind the person as opposed to pass them if you are in a passing lane. But I'm trying to figure out where this would be that your passing lane ends. I guess this is not on a major highway. It's on a stretch of road where they have those, temporarily give you gaps to pass slower traffic. Mind you, you can't speed to pass. What do we have here? How many demerit points for driving with no insurance? We talked about that. Is it illegal not to wear a helmet on a pedal bike? If you're under the age of 18, you're legally required to wear a helmet. If you're 18 or older on a pedal bike, not including an e-bike, because you have to wear a helmet at all times for e-bikes. If you're on a pedal bike, you don't have to make good decisions when it comes to helmets. It is a better decision to always wear a helmet. And many cyclists say, well, pedestrians should wear helmets too. Yeah, they should if they want to be safe, but it's not legally required. Is it illegal to have a giant F. Trudeau sticker on the front windshield? Yes, because you can't put stickers on the front windshield. If you put that on the back windshield, there's nothing wrong with it. But the front windshield, that's it's blocking the driver's view. It's against the law. Back one, go bananas. Oh, I got to scroll back. We're going to go for 21 minutes. I'm going to go to 11:30 just because I'm so happy celebrating the return of messages integrating with TikTok. Just, happy. Boy, there's a lot of them. We're going to try and go faster. I'm going to try and be more. Oh, I'm scrolling up looking for something and I can't find it because I didn't have anything on screen. Oh my goodness, I went too far. Scrolling back down. There's a dad joke. Okay. And this is what am I trying to say? This is what they're saying. Cody says, that's what I'm saying. So it's okay when they break the law as long as it benefits them. What is Cody on about? What was the original question? Not sure where this started. I don't know if it's tint or we're talking about speed. There's a bunch of things we're exempt, we're allowed to do that civilians aren't. I'm sorry to hear that. You're upset about that. I'm sorry that you're upset about that. But yeah, we're also allowed to arrest people for different standards because we're police officers. We're also allowed to carry firearms and that's things we're allowed to do. It's part of our job. How to allow the dog's owner to take their dogs on. Doing the head tilt. I'm confused. How to allow dog's owner to take their dogs on the lap? No, you cannot allow them. Not allowed. It's dangerous. It's drive while crowded or careless driving. We'll charge you for it. It's dangerous to the animal. It's dangerous to the driver. It's unsafe for everyone else on the road because you're not focused on driving. It's different. Don't do that. We're not going to make it allowed. It's illegal. Or maybe you're saying, how is it allowed? I don't know. Okay, our speed signs are different on government property. So bases, military bases, these are governed by military police, and they may have different signage, but definitely don't mess with them. They don't take a joke. Okay. How does loud cars interfere with my job? It doesn't interfere with my job. It interferes with the quiet and peaceful enjoyment of everyone else who pays taxes and is entitled to a peaceful existence. People who are working in their businesses, babies who are sleeping day and night, because babies do that. When you're disturbing everybody else, you are the problem, whether it be your exhaust, your stereo, or your horn. If it's unnecessary and not part of the safe operation of your motor vehicle, you ain't allowed to do it. And $110 fine for no exhaust or improper exhaust or just making the noise. Deal with it. Don't or better yet, just don't do that. But we'll charge you for unnecessary noise, and we combine that with other issues like no muffler. So you could be racking it up. And do you really want that? Just so you can sound silly. I mean, the fart can mufflers that most people are putting on their cars sound ridiculous. And the pop, pop, fizz, fizz of some of these cars, even factory now, to appeal to people who want to pretend to be race car drivers, is pathetic. I mean, I'm a car guy. I like cars. I just think these sound absolutely silly. So it isn't hurting anybody is absolutely incorrect, Fishy. It is hurting people. It's impacting them negatively, and even their health is being impacted. Studies support that. It is bad. People who aren't sleeping through the night because they're listening to people ripping up the highway. These are negative impacts. So it is hurting people. Camaro wants to talk about the Prime Minister. I don't want to talk about the Prime Minister. Not my topic of choice. I talk about traffic stuff and interesting things. Boom, boom, boom. Is drinking coffee distracted driving? It is in some provinces, but not in Ontario. We have BRB says nanny states are the best. I don't like necessarily the concept of nanny state. I don't think that's where we're at. I think we're about getting along with everybody else and not having hooligans tear up things and cause problems and make it unsafe. I don't think that's being a nanny. Yeah. Mind you, if this is what nanny state looks like, I'm okay with it because it's about keeping people safe. And if you don't like it, go somewhere where it's not a nanny state. But I don't know. Is it fair to call Ontario a nanny state? Or because it says Ontario law in particular. Are other provinces less nanny-like to you? I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. Do suspensions ever expire? If you mean license suspensions, yeah, they're on the books for a period of time with you. If you got a 90-day suspension, you're suspended for 90 days. Afterwards, you can go apply for reinstatement. If you don't apply for reinstatement, you are not reinstated and you remain unlicensed. Hey, why if someone breaks into my home armed, I have no ability to use physical force? You do have the ability of using physical force. You're not allowed to use excessive force. So you're entitled in Canadian law to use as much force as necessary. Then you get to defend yourself because you're going to be criminally responsible for anything that was deemed unnecessary. People and places says you guys are doing a great job. Thanks very much. Scott V. says Lawrence Avenue West at Allen Road needs more attention from traffic services. Actually, there are traffic wardens there. And we're not the traffic direction people. We're all about enforcing laws, investigating collisions. But the local police and the traffic wardens in that area know that is a busy joint. It's a problem area. Kessler says, we talked about seatbelts already. Kessler's question. Ryan Pinn, driving instructor extraordinaire, says seatbelts can help you keep you in your seat and help you avoid collisions. Also, if you're in a collision, emergency services are then activated, so it's not just you that's affected. True. What do we have? Jaden Lavin says none. I don't know what that none was in relation to. Joyce Connor, haven't heard from Joyce in a while. What are we talking about here? Let me put it on screen. I don't know if you can see the whole thing. It's a book. Good morning, PC Shapiro and everyone. Due to the numerous phenomenal occurrences in the sky being filmed from people in vehicle or on a vehicle, I was wondering if the driver is distracted by a GM, not General Motors, but a Gazoo Martians in flight that continues off screen, or images in clouds that appear suddenly in large formations that defy everything ever seen before, and the driver gets into a collision. We don't say accident. Would the driver be charged? This question is merely to get your ratings up on your show, PC Shapiro. LOL. Have a great day. Thanks, Joyce. So are aliens a valid excuse for becoming involved in a motor vehicle collision? I don't think so. I'm going to say that Great Gazoo or anything going on in the sky that means that you can pull over and safely park and then observe. Things happen, distractions occur, light in your eyes. These are all things that you're still responsible for because you're responsible for the movement of your motor vehicle. Now, if you had a tractor beam deployed from an alien spaceship and it picked you up off the ground, I mean, I can't argue with that, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. Jaden Lavin says, I was driving for no insurance for 24 days by accident. You drove for 24 days without insurance, and you got pulled over and towed home. Well, that would be right. And if you got charged for drive no insurance, that definitely is no joke. That is not a fun deal. Scrolling back to find where this comment was. Hey, I just saw my buddy, Steve Key. Says, you are very informative. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. I haven't seen you in a while. I haven't been in the radio station. And you moved. Where are you living now? Don't tell me where you're living now. You told me already, but yeah. Tell me on our other platforms. But how is the new place? Because they had moved. They were living in Toronto, and Steve moved. So I hope you're doing well too. Scrolling back. Is it illegal to have underglow when parked? No. Underglow is a really muddy situation. It depends on how it's installed and what is seen to determine whether or not it is something that will result in tickets. But parking lots, no problem. Why are people allowed to drive with gun and weapon stickers? Because vinyl stickers of guns do not mean people are in danger. It may offend people, but it's not illegal. I think they look silly for the most part. Purple Army says, thanks for all you do and thanks for answering all our questions. Well, that's what I'm here for. Thank you for the thank you. Let's see here. How do you feel about Teslas and stupid drivers? I'm about to do some videos in relation to the Apple Vision Pro. I've seen way too many stupid things online over the last 48 hours related to the Apple Vision Pro. There's laws, and if you break them, I don't care what device you're using to break them. As long as they qualify, you're getting charged. At least you should be. Hey, so I went to renew my registration. It said I have $1,000 in tickets, so I checked, and it's red light tickets. So I requested the tickets to see on both sides, and it shows my car going through. Is there more to this? I imagine you got a whole bunch of tickets and you haven't paid them. I want to know why you didn't get them to your house notification by mail and why you didn't respond to them. Did you not update your mailing address? $1,000, that's like 2 or 3 tickets. What is it? They're double, right? So, yeah. I imagine that was a shocker. I don't know how you defend that, because if they have your car going through it, whether you were the driver or not, the owner is responsible. Yeah. Tell me more. I want to know. Why the same charges for phone usage when you're at a stoplight is the same as using on a highway? Well, I don't know if you noticed this, but when you're at a stoplight, you're still on the highway. You're not legally parked, and the requirement is you have to be legally parked, not on the highway or in a parking spot on the side of the highway. You see, the highway is any road in the province of Ontario. Doesn't matter if it's an expressway or if it is Yonge Street. Like, they're all highways. The ones that you get on with an on-ramp are controlled access highways. And you're driving whether you're stopped at a red light or you are driving in motion. You're still breaking the law. So that would be the reason why you would get a ticket. And there's more chatter from Eli. There we go. Our motorized, we're going to come back to Eli in a second, or Ellie, depending on, I don't know how to pronounce your name, which options, there's so many options available. Are motorized bicycles legal? If you're talking about e-bikes, yes. If you're talking about gas-powered bicycles, no. They're motorcycles. Are pink headlights legal? Are pink headlights illegal? Yes, they are illegal. You're only allowed to have white or amber. So Eli, I don't know. We're gonna call you L. What do I do? Pay them, move on? This is in relation to the red light camera tickets. If you've seen the evidence and you're the one breaking the law, or you know who's breaking the law, if somebody else that has access to your vehicle, ask them to kindly pay. There's no impact to your license. It's only financial. But you can't renew your plates until such time as you pay for it. So if you're still driving and you haven't renewed, you're driving illegally. Okay. Can a police officer confiscate a non-restricted firearm during a traffic stop? If you're an unlicensed person carrying a non-restricted firearm, if there's storage issues, I imagine they could. I don't do firearms investigations, or have not done any. I would have been phoning a friend on the road for assistance with that. I'd be looking up things to clarify. But why would we have a reason to seize it if you're in lawful possession? The only reason we would confiscate it, in my opinion, is if there was an issue and you were being charged. We wouldn't take something away from you unless we were charging you for an offense. We don't just take things and say goodbye. We take things and then charge you, because that is how we seize the item. Do you have to wear a helmet if you're driving a bike legally? We talked about that. Yeah. So, e-bike, yes. Bicycle if you're 18 or over, no. We talked about that already. Now, we're back with L. My red light tickets show me going through an orange light. What do I do? Well, then you've got a defense, because if you went through an orange light, it's not illegal on a red light camera. You have to cross the light after it's turned red. If you crossed the light and it was orange, we would have given you a ticket as a police officer. However, if it's orange, which I don't think is the case, because it might look orange if you have a color photograph, but on the line where it'll say, how many seconds has it been red prior to you entering the intersection? That's the information that you're looking for. So I can't really give you any advice other than make sure what you think you are seeing is what you're actually seeing. If it's telling you crossed the red light, the line after it turned red, even if it was a millisecond, you're guilty. But you can certainly take it to court and have that conversation with the prosecutor. You say, please help. I'd love to help, but that's as much help as I can give you. What is this? People you see in hell, or you'll see in hell, great username, they can catch fire because of manufacturing defects from factory. Yes, we're talking about lithium-ion batteries and e-bikes. It is true. Mr. Na says they all catch fire regardless of modification. My e-bike hasn't caught fire. It's been years. Not years since it caught fire last, years since I've owned it. The biggest issue is if you're buying an unregulated, not standard high-quality battery, you're buying it from a no-name overseas, that's a problem. And those are more often the issue, that you're buying cheap knockoff stuff or uncertified stuff. Should I call 911 to report aggressive, dangerous drivers? You can. If you believe that there is life in imminent danger, which obviously dangerous driving is a criminal offense. If someone's doing something and you think they might be impaired by drugs or alcohol, if you think that someone's being aggressive and that they're trying to hurt people, or they're going to hurt people by their actions, not just, that of simply they're driving 10 over. That's not something that I would call 911 for. We'll deal with those people directly. So, yeah, that's what we do. So you can, if you believe that there is risk to people. Eli, I'm still up in the air as to what I'm calling you. I pressed the wrong button. Things updated when I was just like, it was 2 tickets for red light. I'm going back to try and find you. What are the repercussions for an officer who makes false statement on a police report? If we're lying, losing all credibility, that you prove that in court, and it's going to hurt their, their reputation. They can be documented for it. They can be investigated criminally for it. What's a false statement, though? Did they get the color of your car wrong, or are they fabricating information? It's a big difference. So if you have information that says that someone is doing the wrong thing, report it. Absolutely. So this is what I tried to select when I got the other one. I have 2 red light tickets, but the tickets both show me going through an orange light. Yep, again. You need to get some advice from somebody who's looking at that information. I can't be assisting you with your defense, though. Is it true? Is it true you that downtown you can turn left on a red light onto a one-way street? If you're on a one-way street turning onto another one-way street and there is no sign prohibiting it, then yes, you can turn left from a one-way to a one-way after coming to a complete stop and ensuring that the turn can be made in safety. Look at Emma right there with the answer. One way to one way. People you'll see in hell is, yay, my comment was read. Very cool. I've tried requesting to fight it, and they said it's being too long. How long ago was it? What? I don't understand. You just got the tickets 2 weeks ago. There's I would go and talk to you got a lot of information going on. I don't know how it's being like, even if you've been convicted, there's ways of appealing to a justice of the peace to request a ticket be reopened. If you've not received notice or you just received notice now, there's obviously a problem. Definitely get some legal advice. Maybe talk to what do you call those, paralegals? The ticket fighter people, they might be able to shed some light on what's going on. What do we got here? People don't realize that the rear can be tinted and its factory tint front windshields are not tinted. Yeah, so the windows directly left and right of the driver and the windshield are the ones that are regulated. The ones behind can be dark. It doesn't matter. I got a request from a sergeant about an email. Did I get a response? I did not. Emma says you only got 15 days to respond, and that's true under normal conditions. But if you just received notice now, that could be outside. So you got all your piece of paper, all your papers. Go and check it out. There's something wrong with the story, though. If you just received the tickets, why would you have just received the tickets if they're too old to even fight? Like there's a problem. There's a disconnect here. I said we're going to 11:30, and I seem to think we're going to go long because I'm seeing so many good questions. Okay. Yeah, definitely get legal advice. You see, what is this? Too much drinking. You see much drinking while using an e-bike. Well, guess what? E-bikes are motor vehicles. They are the same as cars under the criminal code. So you can be arrested for impaired operation of an e-bike, even an electric mobility scooter. It's against the law. So, yeah. They never mailed me my tickets, and you should have been checking every day. How is it possible you should be checking it every day? Like checking the mail that they didn't send? Yeah, there's a problem. Like I said, get legal advice. The right we can remain silent remains in Canada. Draco 306. Are you asking me a question? Are you making a statement? There's certain things you cannot be silent about. If I ask you a question like what's your name, you have to identify yourself, whether it be a criminal investigation or especially we're talking about a stop, like a vehicle stop, because I can hold you to confirm your identity. Like you can be arrested for that purpose. So some things people think is good advice isn't good advice, bad advice. Talking about red light cameras and or speed cameras are only in school zones. Yeah, they're in community safety zones, not specifically school zones. I got a ticket for no front plate, even though it was in my car on the dashboard. Well, there's a prescribed by regulation where you must mount your front your front license plate, and the windshield isn't it. It says front of the car in a conspicuous place. That's the front grille, the front bumper, a tow hook adapter, anywhere in the front of the vehicle, not behind glass halfway through the vehicle. That's absolutely illegal, and your ticket is valid. That's ridiculous. They don't mail tickets to you anymore. You have to sign into a website and check through registration. Are you in Ontario? Where are you? Because that does not sound right. They still send you tickets. They have to give you notice by ticket. I've never heard of you being required to sign into a website to check your registration daily. Ellie, go to ASKaTrafficCop.ca. Now you've piqued my interest. Where are you? I want to know more information. That sounds ridiculous. So, Ellie, if you go to ASKaTrafficCop.ca, there's a page where you can actually send me a message. Tell me more. I'm very curious. I want to do some research, and if I can help you, I can't give you defense, but if I can at least find out this story, if it has any legitimacy, I'd love to help out that way. Because that I have contacts to find out. I know the people who operate the program, so I can at least confirm that. Okay. What was this? Are e-bikes without pedals illegal? Yes. E-bikes must have functional pedals attached. Otherwise, they're motorcycles. What's this? Mobility scooters max speeds for roadways and sidewalks. I don't know. I've been looking into this. I think it's 15. I think it's 15 or 8 miles. I think it is, but I don't know. Mobility scooters aren't the focus of my daily grind. Is it illegal to drive a car on the sidewalk in Brampton? I'm going to say that's a yes. I don't know the bylaws in Brampton, but I know that driving cars on sidewalks generally, when bicycles aren't lawful on sidewalks, I'm going to say that cars are probably not legal there either. I saw a TikTok or an Instagram video last night of somebody doing something odd. How long is my license suspended for taking my dad's car and speeding with a G1? Well, this depends. 30 days for your first conviction of driving unaccompanied, 30 days. If it's your second time, 90 days. If it's your third time, you get kicked out of the program. You don't get to come back. You have to reapply fresh. If you got a speeding ticket, well, if it's more than 4 points, you get a 30-day suspension. If you did it in conjunction with your G1, well, you're looking at, I think you could trip both. So you get a 30-day and a 90-day, I think. Or maybe you'd have two, I don't know. I have a video that describes it, but you're combining two different things. I don't know how that would work out. In any case, you need to apply for reinstatement at the end of that suspension period. But don't do really silly things that you shouldn't be doing. You're also not covered under insurance if you do that. And good luck ever getting insurance that you can afford if you've been doing silly things behind the wheel. Where we got this? Stand by. Okay. Is it illegal to use cell phone while driving, but the front passenger is holding it for you? Yes. Well, it depends. Are you talking about using it on speakerphone and they're just holding it so that you can use it on speakerphone? That's not illegal. You're not holding it. If you're in contact with it and you are looking at it, if it's not in GPS mode, you're looking at a screen of an entertainment or cell phone, and that's illegal. So yeah, don't use your cell phone. Let your co-pilot, who's holding your cell phone, do everything on the cell phone. What is this? Can I train my child how to drive in the parking lot when it's not busier at night? I am a G2 holder. On private property, Jenny, you can let them drive, but obviously they're not going to be insured if they cause damage. That's bad. So, but can they drive private property? There's no law that says they can't. Unless they're stunt driving, that would be illegal, and they would get your car impounded. But I would suggest they get their learner's permit when they're 16 and get professional instruction. Can we please do something about left lane cruising? You mean the people who are driving below the speed limit in the left lane, or the people who are doing the lawful speed limit in the left lane, which is not illegal, even if it pisses you off. It is absolutely illegal to do the speed limit in the left lane, and no one should be going any faster because going faster than the speed limit is illegal. Shocking, I know. I'm always impressed by the people who are whining about people going slow, and when they say slow, they mean the speed limit, which is the maximum speed legal for the road. Camaro is asking about the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, not Freedmen's. What are you asking about specifically about the Charter? You want to know why we can stop you to check your license? Because you're driving a car and it's permitted. Why can we stop you to check for alcohol? Because it's seen as permitted, or it's being granted as permission or acceptable, or however the wording they use from the Supreme Court of Canada, that, it infringes on your rights and it's for the greater good, thus it's permitted. What do you do on a typical day when you're not on the air? I create training material. I plan trade shows and events specific to representing Toronto Police Traffic Services and continuing education for the public. I create, training material. I engage with media relations and media events, So we're talking about mainstream media, television, radio, print. I do all sorts of things, whatever's needed outside of that. I am generally a busy guy. Today I was doing some graphic design because we have to produce some posters for the auto show. Really looking forward to the auto show. Are you going to the auto show? Some people going to the auto show. It's going to be fun. But my day is never the same. Like every day is a different day. Today I'm now way long, but usually it's an hour ish for this particular show. And an hour ish is often, an hour ish is usually an hour and a half. And I think we're going to go straight to 2 hours here. Are there ever radar speed traps set up at night? Speed enforcement happens 24/7. We're always doing speed enforcement. Are U-turns legal at traffic lights if there's no sign prohibiting it, and if it's, we call it safe to do so, and it's a green light, not a red light? Don't understand how anyone thinks that it's okay for red light U-turns. Dark clothing and no reflectors or lights on food delivery, e-bikes, potential Darwin Awards. Truly. We need people to be seen. So many people on bicycle getting hurt, so many pedestrians getting hurt. We can improve our chances of survival, of being safe, if we help drivers who are often not paying attention see you. Reflectivity is usually a good thing. Is it required? Are we blaming pedestrians? No, we're trying to say, if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win. So do whatever you can to improve your odds. That's my suggestion. Is it illegal to use cell phone while driving, but the front path, we talked about this already. As someone who has driven on CFB Borden, don't ever go one over. Ryan, I'm with you. I think that we should have that kind of zero tolerance everywhere, though. A says, what is it? A pirate. I see the little pirate flag. What are you yapping about? I'll get close so you can read my lips. Traffic law, traffic safety, and police stuff. If you're not interested, move on. Driving only daytime lights on at night drives me crazy. Please don't enforcement. Canadian Bacon. I agree with you. People who don't activate their full headlighting system at night are breaking the law. They're using low-powered high beam setting to illuminate the road, which is not sufficient. And they have no lights in the back, which makes them incredibly dangerous. And we do charge them. It's $110 for improper headlights and $110 for the brake lights being off. So that's a $210 potential ding. And we absolutely lay that charge. Now, I will say that sometimes we just pull them over and say, turn your bloody lights on. Here's where the switch is. Because sometimes people are borrowing the car and they have no idea, rental cars. Or guess what else? They're sometimes impaired by drugs or alcohol, which is so many people that I arrested over the years, pulling them over because they didn't put their full headlighting system on. Andrew French wants to know how the Toronto police are not investigating railroad yards with car thefts. We investigate all sorts of things, but here's the thing. Investigating means we have proper channels, rules, and regulations that must be followed when investigating anything. So you have an air tag that says my car is in that bin. Okay, good for you. I mean that with the utmost of respect. We now need to start the process of applying for a warrant. And that takes time. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And sometimes it does. But we absolutely do the work. We don't say, we refuse to investigate. That's not something that I can imagine happening. Matthew Svirak says, what do you think the chances are of stunt driving sticking in court for doing spins in a private lot? Stunt driving. They lay the charge. It's a legit charge. I couldn't tell you. I don't know if they're giving deals. I don't know if there's a defense that you have, because it's clearly not legal. Okay, we talked about these things. Here's another spammer. Ryan had to go. Talking about noisy exhaust. What if it's a Ferrari? It's a great question, because Ferraris, they sound good. They sound loud sometimes. If you're driving, behavior, not the car is loud, but if you, why is it not showing up on screen? I clicked it. Hello. If it is loud because you're revving it, if you're doing something other than, that was so weird. It showed up on TikTok before it even showed up on my screen. Anyway, if you are hitting that button, being the gas pedal, and you're revving and you're putting on a show, you're going to get a ticket. If you're respectfully creating as little noise as possible, you're going to be okay. So don't open up your Ferrari on a street in Toronto or anywhere, because opening it up is going to make it noisy. And when you make it noisy, your behavior is making it noisy. The vehicle itself is probably purring quite nicely. Now, if you've modified your Ferrari, you might be making it noisy all the time, and you're going to get charged for that too. There's no exemption for supercars, even if we like them. Where on earth did these questions go? Come on. There's no way that oh, here it is. Camaro says, all right, thank you. I appreciate your time. It's my pleasure. That's what we're here for. Are noisy motorcycles also illegal? Yes, they are. And actually, this is something really interesting. I think it's interesting. In the city of Toronto, we have bylaws that came into play a couple years ago for noisy motorcycles in particular. So if your motorcycle idled at 92 decibels or above, you were eligible for a $500 ticket in the city of Toronto, in addition to the HTA charge for $110 for unnecessary noise. Now, they've modified those laws. The bylaws now include any motor vehicle at idle of 92 decibels or above, or anything other than idle, 96 decibels and above. $500. That's huge. And the bylaw team that does noise is out there, or going to be out there, with decibel readings. And a lot of people say, we don't like unnecessary noise, it's too arbitrary. Well, now it's going to be, in addition to the arbitrary unnecessary noise, which we can still lay, they will lay the very scientifically recorded, standardized testing to get people who are too noisy. All right. Is having your phone hands-free but using it as a GPS still distracted driving? If you're using it as a GPS and holding it in your hands are not free. If it's mounted, you can certainly use your phone in GPS mode, but that means looking at it, not touching it. You cannot program destinations. But you know what you can do? You can talk to your Google Assistant or your Siri and say, hey, plot a course to this destination. It'll do it. You don't have to touch it. Is there a statute of limitations on suspension? I don't know. The suspension happens when it happens, just because you weren't paying attention. Like, they don't suspend you 10 years from now for something you did 10 years ago. That would be a 20-year gap, if you're checking out the math I was going. But if you are suspended when you weren't paying attention, then your suspension is valid. And if you haven't reinstated it, you're still suspended. How do you report noisy vehicles? We have a website entry form that you can use for any kind of driving behavior or neighborhood issues. You can do it there. You can also talk to your local counselor. If there's a major problem in the neighborhood, they'll talk to us too. But you can certainly report it. Online's the best. It's the best. It's the least intrusive, least hold waiting on phone. Hold waiting. It's new. Boom, boom, boom. Trying to find some stuff here. Failure to lower high beams on a motorcycle a ticket? Yeah. At night. If you have your high beams on, you're blinding people. It's no different than a car. Why should it be? Tell Trevor I say hello, Akela, if you're still there. Okay. Trying to find stuff. Hey, it's King 5K. Have I ever been in a police helicopter? I have not. I've been in helicopters in Toronto. I have not been, or a helicopter. I've only been up once. But I've never been in a police helicopter. We don't have one in Toronto. We borrow our friends. Okay. Is there a law that says you can't be in the passing lane for over a kilometer? It'll result in something. Fine and point. I've never heard of a law like that. I think it's great if we had that law. People shouldn't be in the passing lane and people shouldn't be speeding anywhere. We've seen 10 to 15 cars per day teaching illegally, but no one cares except instructors. I take it, Parm, you are an instructor? You work with them? Go to Traffic Cop and send me some information. I'd love to notify people what's going on, share that intelligence with people who need it for enforcement. But I'm sure we have tons of problems going on, just not stuff that I'm currently privy to. They've asked it again, and they've used all uppercase now because they didn't notice me answering it already. Do I have to roll my windows all the way down when you're stopped by police, or when you're driving around trying to get more air in the car? I don't know what you mean. I assume you mean when you're stopped by police, and yeah, we need to be able to see inside the car. If we ask you to roll it down, it's a lawful request. Do you have to? Can you only roll it down an inch? That's just silliness. Can't communicate. Hey, no response yet. I'm wrapping up shortly. We had some technical difficulties in the morning, slowed it down, so I've been giving them some extra time. That's Sergeant looking at me going, "Why are you still on the air?" What have we got here? Okay, I don't know what that question is, so I'm going to skip because it hurt my brain. Did not make sense. I've never seen an orange traffic light. Orange, amber, yellow. It's amber is orangey yellow. Do you need to eat Timmy's to become an officer? Keegan wants to know. Timmy's used to be, I guess, I look at Timmy's as coffee. I guess they serve food too. Do you need to go to Tim Hortons? No. Not a requirement. I mean, we won't reject you if you do. I choose to brew my own coffee now at home. Actually, I have 2 coffee machines here too. I'm going to brew one right after the show. I need more caffeine. Dad jokes. Yes, we're going to get to dad jokes in just a moment. I will not leave you without dad jokes. All right. A lot of repetition here, so I'm scrolling through. If a cop says they suspected me of speeding but falsely identify my vehicle model for another car and everything else is legal document-wise, is it on grounds for illegal detainment? No. You're saying that they believe that you were speeding, so they pulled you over because they thought that your vehicle was the vehicle that they thought was speeding and it wasn't. They got it wrong and then they didn't charge you. This is just part of determining that you're not the right vehicle. It's not, you're not being arrested or illegally detained unless they're telling you that even though we know that you're not the car, we're going to keep you there for no reason and just stare into your eyes. Like it's not, maybe there's something I'm not picking up from what you're saying, but pulling you over because they got it wrong isn't illegal detainment. They're stopping you. And they're always allowed to check your license and they're always allowed to check your insurance and sobriety. And those are all ongoing issues. They're not issues, but legitimate reasons to stop any vehicle, which I imagine they were doing when they were asking to find out if you were the person they thought you were. A little fishy that we don't suspect you of speeding. We measure you for speeding and then we stop you for speeding. We don't usually say, I think you're that car that was speeding. Maybe like I said, maybe there's something I'm not picking up that you're putting down. Can we surrender or provide videos to police for prosecution of traffic violations? Yeah, if you've got evidence about something that happened, usually in relation to something we're already investigating. But if you have people who are, you witness something, it's potential that is, it's something you can report and could work towards conviction at some point. It may help in another case, but it may not result in tickets being issued just because you gave us a video, because we need to be able to capture time, date, location, identity of the driver, identity of the vehicle to lay a charge. If we don't have all of that, we can't lay the charge based on video alone. But we might pull them over doing the same thing somewhere else, and then we have the report of it happening before, so it would help in terms of the case, the greater case, the paperwork, the supporting evidence. What do we got here? Talked about that. Pulled over for plate being expired, but a car sped by me while happening. Was it worth it over the speed? Your car was not legally on the road. We pick the one we pick, and then we stick with it. Was it worth it? Yeah, your vehicle plate was expired. We'll catch the other speeder later. Can only deal with one. Go fishing, can't catch them all. Got a dad joke? Yes. Here's the dad joke there. We're going to read dad jokes in just a second. Can we travel at the same speed if the officer is speeding with no lights on? No, because police are legally allowed to speed with no lights on. You are not allowed to speed at all. I love this. I always love quota comments because they're so they're so wrong. They're so incorrect. It's not a money-making thing. It is not a quota thing. We can write as many or as little tickets as we want. It's all about measuring our performance and not about money. So we could be on a ticket or a charge or a stop that results in multiple charges and a huge investigation. It takes us days. One ticket could be written from it, maybe an arrest, but it takes a long time. So be it. That's what happens. We could be at a barbecue because we're supporting a community event. We could be responding to collisions. Tickets are not the end-all, be-all. They are a way of enforcing an education and making the streets safer. But they're not a money-making thing because it costs way more money to go out and stop people and charge people and take it to court and so on and so forth. It's not about the money, but people are so hung up with the money. Would you prefer jail time? Because that's an option, I guess. You could always say, I don't want to pay. You guys are just trying to get the money. I'd rather go and spend a week in jail. I think if you volunteer that JP might allow you to do it. These are the complaints that I think are hilarious because people want to complain. They don't want to be held accountable. Just don't break the law. That's the easiest way to avoid paying anything. Drives me bananas. What do we have here? Let's say someone's doing 70 to 50 and hits the back of a truck coming through an intersection. Let's say it. They were speeding. I'm not sure what you're asking. When will the police hold themselves to the same standard as the public? Christina, we hold ourselves to a higher standard already. And then the public holds us to a higher standard even then. Our management, the multiple bodies who govern us and manage us and investigate us, we are probably the most scrutinized industry in the world, more than doctors, lawyers, accountants, everybody. We are looked at from all sides. So we hold ourselves way higher than you will ever. You may not like what we do. We do it right. And when we find someone who's doing it wrong, they usually get charged, documented, fired, sometimes suspended until that takes place because it's not an easy thing at the moment to fire a police officer unless there are very clear things that were done. But we hold them to standards. Heck, people used to check our socks at parade to make sure you were wearing the uniform properly. Screen. Oh. Is the audio still going? Can you still hear me? I don't know. It may be dead. Maybe finished. Let me know. I gotta check. It might be. It might be not working. Then I'm just talking to myself, which not fun.
How fast does the Ford?
Oh, the wrong app. Oh, no, that was the right app. Testing. No, it's still going. Audio is still working. Okay. At what point is a pursuit called off? When anybody involved in the pursuit, including people on the radio, any supervisor, any other police officer, believes that the safety of the public is such at risk that it's not worth it, call it off. Anyone can call it off. Is it legal to cruise in the passing lane doing the speed limit? Well, how about this? I'll pose it as a question. Is it illegal to speed in the passing lane? And I'll give you a hint. If you said yes, you're wrong. You're not allowed to exceed the posted speed limit. So if you're doing the speed limit in the passing lane, is it illegal? When that's as fast as you're legally allowed to go in the passing lane? A lot of people have a problem with people who do the speed limit when the speed limit is the fastest you can go. Now, there are rules about slower moving traffic to stay to the right. That's for the folks who are going below the posted speed limit. Shocking, I know. Oh my goodness. If you don't know what the speed limit on the road you turn onto is, could you still be issued a ticket? Yeah, you can. You ought to have known. If there's no signage, and if you've missed the sign, that's your problem. If there's no signs at all, then 50 is usually the unsigned standard. Some areas in Toronto have signs that say entering a speed zone. So once you pass that sign, it's 30 kilometers until you exit. Is it legal to pass a police car if they're going under the limit? Sure it is. What if you hit someone after they made a U-turn through an intersection and they jumped into, well, if they're making a turn, they're responsible. They're going to be responsible. Turning vehicles are always going to be in the responsible category. He almost let it slip. It's about revenue. It's not about revenue. I was explaining how there's no money to be made there. It is way more expensive to enforce rules than any monies that would be collected from it. But people like to try and make excuses about their bad behavior. Just don't break the law and you'll be fine. Can you please elaborate on police speeding without lights and sirens? I've talked about it already a couple times this episode. It's lawful. The only time police need to activate their lights and sirens is to go through a red light or to communicate to get people out of the way. The problem is when we activate our lights, many people just stop in the middle of the road. It is less safe and much slower to get to where we're going with all of our stuff activated. Cole says, yo, 100 is for the right lane, middle is 10 to 15, over, left is 20 and beyond, usually do 130 in traffic. But then you're breaking the law because you're incorrect. 100 is for all lanes. Unless you're writing some new laws that haven't received royal assent yet. Okay. I love people who make up their own stuff and then complain about stuff. It's fun. You at Comic-Con for the 3 days in March? Yes, I'll be there. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, serious question. Can I be charged with speeding if I break the speed limit while on a bicycle? The answer is no. Bicycles do not have to conform to speed limits unless they are e-bikes that go more than 32 kilometers an hour or e-kick scooters that go more than 24 kilometers an hour. Then they don't qualify as bicycles and they would be eligible for speeding tickets. Electric unicycles, motorcycles, they've never been and never will be legal that I can see. They absolutely qualify for speed limits. They're motor vehicles. Okay, let's get into some Akela dad jokes. My coworkers laugh at my jokes during in-person meetings, but never during online meetings. When I asked them why, they said my jokes weren't remotely funny. It's good. I like that. Again, see the tech connection for Akela? What do we got here? Dad joke. Did you know half the people in Canada love hockey, the other half pretend to love hockey? Is that a dad joke? I don't love hockey. I find this factually incorrect. Only because I don't pretend to love hockey. I have no interest in it at all. So I think it's incorrect. But I buy that when we're traveling. I think we're supposed to pretend. Okay, it's kind of funny. Keep them coming. You got another one. I'll go to your next one. We won't count you out of the game. Jaden says I was driving. No, that's not a joke. That's not a joke. We got Magical with his second joke. Not really a dad joke, but it's a question that people seem to think is real. Does red mean stop, green means go, and yellow means go really fast? Yellow means stop unless it's unsafe to do so. So that is a question we get asked all the time, even though it's in the form of a dad joke. It's not legal. Yeah. We've gone 2 hours today. This was a big one. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you tomorrow. And I'll be back in a sec.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get freed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
So a couple of things that just popped in that look good. Let's see here. Can you explain how the process of escorting EMS works? We're talking about emergency medical services. If we have an ambulance that has to do an emergency run, police will hold intersections so that there are no other vehicles on the road moving for their entire path from the collision scene or the event scene all the way to the hospital. I was in a hospital or an emergency run for my rush to Sunnybrook after my motorcycle collision. So that I tell you, we were really hauling it. But we do that by having an officer on every traffic point, maintaining nobody's on the road. I gotta go. One sec here. This person thinks they should follow police cars. Yellow means prepare to stop because light's turning red. No, it means you have to stop. You can get a ticket for running a yellow light. If you want to go as Rambo said, they thought it was going faster. If you do that, you get a ticket. It's the same as running a red light, essentially. All right. Yogi Berra quote, because apparently I missed it earlier. How can you think and hit at the same time? I guess you just do it. Anyway, we're out of here. See you tomorrow.